Hey everybody, it's Safi and Marco Dish Out on Movies, the only movie review show on YouTube to review movies in terms of food. And it's just Marco here once again, and I am here for a very quick review. I thought that I might as well, because I decided to watch another new release that I needed to catch up on this evening. And I was really in the mood to watch a movie, and I chose to finally watch VHS Halloween. This one was actually one that I was kind of sad I didn't jump on earlier because I heard everyone saying, like, this is incredible, this is amazing, this is fantastic, and it just kind of felt surreal for people to be saying that about a VHS movie, because this series does not really have the greatest track record. Every year they come out with a new one, which I like that. I think that that's really cool because each year different filmmakers get to put their own, work out there for people to see. And they get to do their own thing. They get to, try to, have their shot. And then I like that there's a different theme every year. And yeah, I think that overall, like, it's a harmless series. I wish that it would go back to its roots. I know that the old ones, that they were kind of fantastical somewhat, but like I wish in general that found footage would go back to trying to be scary and trying to be real. Like the Blair Witch Project, that is probably one of the best horror movies ever made. And it's because they took it seriously. Like, yeah, there's jokes that you could make. There's lots of little funny moments here and there. But like that's a serious horror movie, and it earns it earns being in the horror movie genre. And it's very minimalistic too. And it's so funny because, today I did a video, if you guys are interested, talking about this nightmare I had last night. And the nightmare, it wasn't really that graphic or brutal or violent. It was just very unsettling and very subtle. And, even actually looking at my own work, I always try to look at things that, might just be a little bit too far and kind of just think like, well, maybe this would be better if it was lesser. It would be scarier. Like I've tried to do that before. Like with County Fear, there are a couple examples I could give you. Like there was this one part in County Fear, and this is not a spoiler, but there was going to be a character, and he was going to have his eyeballs were going to be gone, and he was going to have Ferris wheels going inside his eyeballs, and like all lit up, and really bright Ferris wheels just going in circles and both of his eyeballs as he was talking. And I thought that, but then I thought like maybe that's just kind of like like just pushing it, like just in your face. It's not smart. It's not like, it's just like, it's obnoxious. And this movie, VHS Halloween, it's not like Blair Witch Project. It is obnoxious. It is an obnoxious movie, unfortunately. You could best summarize the movie as it is 2 hours of 4 or 5 people screaming. You literally the entire movie. At least in other VHS movies, there is a little bit of variety, before all the characters get killed, at the end. Like, oh no, we're all gonna die, and then they drop the camera, and that's the end, like, every single fucking time. And there's a lot of stuff with that, too. Like, I know that, obviously, like, we're probably not supposed to think very much about this stuff, but, like, I have a brain, so it's hard not to think. But it's just hard to think, like, how like all these videos would be put on the same tape, like how they would all end up together. Like it doesn't make sense. And I know that that's kind of a weird criticism, but like it really takes me out of the movie. But like every single segment of this movie is basically just, you have like 2 to 4 to 5 people, and they go into a scary place, and then there's like a person, and they come out and they're like, hey, what's going on? And then the whole group of people are like, ah, ah, ah. Like, that is literally this entire movie. It's literally just 2 hours of people going, ah, ah. It's like, who the fuck wants to watch that? I could watch that on Pornhub, you know. Like, why am I watching this VHS movie? I mean, the acting is worse than I've seen in porno, and that's saying something, because I've watched the movies, but like this was bad. It was really bad. It was really bad in a way that just, to me, I think the saddest part, because there were 2 segments that I think stood out, and then there was a third one that I felt like had potential, and then the other ones just kind of sucked. So I'll go through those in a little bit, you know, after I'm going, ah, a couple of more times, you know, like that. I mean, that's this whole fucking movie. That is this whole movie. If you wanted to take anything from this review, just take this. Ah! Ah! Okay, segment 1 is over. Ah! Segment 2 is over. Ah! Segment 3 is over. Ah! Segment 4 is over. And so on. And it's like, what is going on here? And to me, I think, sadly, the vibe that I got was that they did not take this one seriously. They said, you know what? There's a lot of critics out there like Marco from Safi and Marco dish out on the movies, and he's going to be a real dick to us this year again. And so how about we just say fuck him, and how about we make like a silly movie, you know, like a really silly, just goofy movie with goofy segments and stupid characters who make stupid decisions, stupid villains, stupid plots, stupid everything. Just stupid all over the fucking place. Just stupid VHS. You know what this movie should have been called? It should have been called VHS Stupid. It should have been called VHS Stupid, starring the stupidest people in the horror universe. You know, because this was just, it was insanely bad. There was all this bad dialogue. The dialogue was like just so bad. It was so amateurish, and it was so like, we're trying to tell you the plot and the characters through the dialogue. Like, okay, as you guys know, this is my 14th birthday, and that is why I am at this factory in the middle of nowhere. And the factory was once owned by this one guy who was another guy. Like, that was the dialogue in this movie. A lot of really stupid dialogue. The movie opens up after this stupid little segment that they keep on trying to push the whole movie, which was basically just all to build up to a stupid retro soda commercial. Which, you know, I mean, if you have fun with that, and like, yeah, I hope that when you get off of, you know, the trip from the marijuana that you're smoking, I hope that you can come back to Earth and, you know, realize how bad that was. Because it just, I mean, it really was very blatantly obvious that these people were like, hey, like, you know what would be really fun? Halloween stuff? Like, it'd be fun to like make like a soda commercial, and so let's build like a whole segment around that and just You know what I would like to say about the Diet Phantasma segment? Why don't you stick the Diet Phantasma up your ass? Because like that's the only place that segment would be worth would be worth putting it. Like if I was to rank these segments, like that's where I would put it. I put it up my ass, because it's like what can it hurt? Like it's Diet Phantasma. It's gonna kill you anyway because it's only got 1 calorie. And so after that shitty first part's done, they immediately open up. This is how I was able to tell it's a modern movie. It's a modern horror movie. You have these 2 girls. They're sitting in a car. They're both very obnoxious. They both basically have giant signs printed on them that say, "We're going to get killed in the horror movie because we're fucking stupid." And then there are these kids that come up to them, and the kids like swear at them or something, and then they walk away. And then like one of the girls actually says, like, she complains that like these 10-year-old children are misogynists. It's like, wow. Oh, wow. Modern horror movies. This is what you call Gen Z horror. Isn't that funny? Like, just really, really bad. And if I went through this whole movie, I'd probably have a brain aneurysm because, like, that's how bad it was. That's just how insane. This was insanely bad. It was so bad that, like, words can't even describe just the confusion and the contempt and the mind-numbing horror that I felt watching this movie. I felt like I was in hell. And I was... This is how you know I don't like a movie, because I'm not one of those crappy people who, they're on their phones watching a movie, or, they're making a sandwich in the background, or, they're doing... Like, it's basically, like, I like to pay attention to the movies I watch. I like to give, the filmmakers my respect and my time if I'm choosing to watch whatever I'm watching. But if it's bad, I'll get on my phone, or I'll start just getting up and walking around. Like, I'll just start taking a walk. I'm not going to do a walk and review, because I learned that lesson that was really bad to do when I tortured myself the other day. But yeah, like, I really wish I could go through this movie, because it just, it begs to be roasted. It begs to be analyzed for just terrible activities in this movie. The first segment, you got this barbarian ripoff, and it just... another thing that I hate about found footage horror, by the way? I hate how it's so obvious that it's like a movie. Like, I hate how it's so obvious that, they're taking the camera around and like, oh, okay, here we're gonna have a tracking shot of these people, and we're gonna have just this convenient extra, just this one extra walk by the camera, like it's a real movie, and it just it irritates me so much, because it's like this is not a real movie. This is supposed to be found footage. It's not supposed to be like a real movie. It's supposed to feel different. It's supposed to feel a certain way. And it just, like, and then they, these people, they walk by people and they hear this exposition dialogue that just, it's so obvious what they're doing. It's so stupid. It's so dumb. And this first movie, I mean, it's just the stupidest girls in horror movie history. I mean, both of them deserved what they got. I mean, they didn't really get anything. All they got was like some free milk. They they went into this house that they knew that there was like a girl who went missing recently who was their age. And they go to this house that's like in the middle of nowhere, kind of, or it's in the middle of just everything. And there's no houses around it. And they're like, yeah, let's go trick-or-treating there. And one of the girls has the sense to say, no, let's not do that because it's obviously a trap. It's not smart to go in that place. Because then there's like a person who holds out candy and then they just leave the door open, and it's like, that's just weird. That's very weird. And you know, these characters are so stupid. One of them actually goes in the house, and her friend, you know, she should have, you know, had a brain and realized, like, hey, my friend is dumb and she's gonna die now. But I can leave, you know, I can go to Steak and Shake and I can move on. I can play the song Don't Stop Believing by Journey, and I can order onion rings and I can just move on, you know, and just forget about the dumb girl that I was friends with, the dumb girl that, you know, went into this house that was obviously a trap. I mean, it was just like the most obvious thing ever, and they go in there and like, this was like, each segment was like 40 minutes or something. Like, each segment was really, really long. And this first one, like, they just keep on going to room after room. And there are all these, like, people in there. They don't even do anything evil to the girls. Like, all they do is, like, there's this one big fat guy who looks like a giant baby. And he's supposed to be like a giant baby. And he literally just, like, chews on the wall, and then he goes like, ah! And then he runs away. And every time they go by him, he's like, ah! And it's like, what type of horror is this? Like, this isn't horror. This is just stupidity right here. It's just plain stupidity. And it's just, it's not even worth going into. The second segment was in Spanish, which pretty much immediately threw me off, because I was like, wait a second, what am I watching here? Like, and it wasn't in like a way where I was like, oh, well, I won't watch it because it's in Spanish. It really threw me off. And to be honest, like, I feel like, you know, there was another VHS that had a segment that was all in Japanese, I think. And it was really good. It was like an A+ segment. It was really, really good. And, you know, it was good even without really being able to understand what they were saying. Even without looking at the subtitles. And this segment, it was not good either way. I don't know what was going on. There was like some paranormal activity or something. It was another group of people. They screamed for like 30 minutes and they all died. It's like, who cares? And that's like my review of this movie, is like, who cares? And then the third segment, it was what was that one about? What was the next one? Fun Size. Yeah, that one was fun. If you have, like, the brain of a 2-year-old. If you have the brain of a 2-year-old on acid, that was really fun. You would really like this movie if you're like a 2-year-old who just stumbled upon acid. Okay, so this this little segment, it's about a group of people. They're stupid as fuck. They're stupid. They're just some stupid people, and it's like, God, they are not taking this seriously. But then it felt like maybe some of it they were taking a little bit seriously, because they had this weird subplot about, like, you know, one of the girls, she's getting married to this guy, and she doesn't want to marry him for some odd reason that they never explain. And then that's like a subplot. There's a subplot in a VHS movie. In a found footage horror movie, there's a subplot. I mean, why is there a subplot in my VHS horror movie? And I am not drunk, by the way, guys. I'm just really, really freaked out by how bad this was. But yeah, and I'm tired because it's like 11:30 at night, and I just want to go to sleep and have another dream about cutting a cake. Cutting a cake and being in an Amish classroom. Because you have this group of people, they go up to a house, and it's like a classic thing where they say, oh, just take one. Which, by the way, like, I have, like, never come across one of those houses. When I trick-or-treated as a child and as a teenager, by the way, that's, like, one of my biggest regrets of childhood is not trick-or-treating more. Because as an adult, I just feel completely awkward about it. But it really would be fun to do. But, they actually show multiple times in this one, like, adults trick-or-treating, though, which I thought was kind of cool. It was kind of like, oh, that's fun. That's something that I don't have the confidence to do, but, like, that's fun. But, like, they go up to this bowl, and it says, take one, and then, you guys aren't going to believe this. There's a candy, and it's a chocolate dick. And the guy eats it. He eats a chocolate dick. And it's really funny because, like, by the logic of the segment, you would taste either skin or cartilage or sperm, and the sperm was way too white to be real, and just it didn't make sense with the actual logic of the story. It was just, again, it's like they were not taking this seriously. They were kind of treating it like, and again, like, if you guys have fun with this movie, then I'm really happy for you. I hope that you have a lot of fun with, I hope you have a lot of fun with this movie in the future, when you watch it, like, over and over every year, because, like, you can watch it for me, because I won't be watching it again, unless I have a couple of beers, unless I have a couple of craft, like, pumpkin spiced beers, and maybe, like, a group of people to just laugh at this movie. But anyways, this piece of shit, he's like, no, I want to have another. He's got something else going on, because, like, he tasted a chocolate dick and he's like, I want to have another. And then he picks another one out, and he literally gets pulled into the candy bowl, and one by one they all get pulled into this candy bowl, which I thought was stupid. I thought that was dumb. I thought that was, like, really, really weird. Because the bowl starts flying around. It starts flying around and sucking people up, even when they run away from the house. I thought that was totally bizarre. And then they're in this factory. And again, it turns out that they are turning people into candy. But it's really weird because only the one guy took more than one piece of candy. So all these other people in this friend group are getting punished because of something that he did. And I thought that was really stupid. That didn't make any sense at all. The bad guy I thought was kind of cool. He had like a bobblehead. There's this one part where he gets his hand chopped off and he's just got like bubblegum balls like flying out of his clothes, out of his sleeve. I thought that was really fun and creative. There were also some really creative kills, I think. I like some of the kills. It kind of reminded me of Epic Movie a little bit, though. You know, Epic Movie, they did the same thing where Willy Wonka was turning people into candy. But that was like a fun one. That was one of the better ones, even though it was really stupid. I mean, the whole thing about getting married, it all culminates in these two people are about to die, and he asks her, he's basically trying to like stage a marriage before they die or something, and he asks her if do you take me as your husband, whatever, and she says, I do not. And then he's like, what? And he gets killed. And it's like, again, like, this is like a South Park episode. Like, in fact, this whole movie is like a giant South Park episode. But South Park would have been better, because South Park is actually good. And, you know, that one, whatever. The next one was like about Kid Print. And that one started off interesting, but it kind of was like really 80s. And that was another kind of weird thing about this, was that like half of these segments were like very, very 80s. And then half of them were very modern. And so I was, to me, this was more of an 80s VHS movie than a Halloween VHS. I mean, because of all the 80s stuff, like, it felt a lot more 80s than it should have. But I get it, you know, it's fine. That's not really a big deal. But, like, this Kid Print thing, I gotta be honest, like, I could barely make out what it was. Like, it was like, there's this guy who's working with the Kid Print thing with this, you know, video service for kids, and this other guy who works with him, he's like a child molester, killer or something, and so he frames the main guy. And but like basically this is like 30 minutes of people screaming. There's some really silly stuff that happens, and you really can't take it seriously. It just doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like, it feels like a movie. And that's not what you want, especially from a found footage movie. And the final one was it started off like it had potential. It was all about this family that had a homemade haunted house, which I really liked because I did that as a kid. In fact, as a kid, I would watch a ton of videos all about people making their homemade haunted houses. Like, I remember there was this one guy, his YouTube name was like the Pyrotechnic or something like that, and he had this really fun haunted house where it was like just like his garage or this shed, and there were just like garbage bags all over the walls, and then strobe lights, and then Michael Myers and all these, you know, decorations. And it just, making haunted houses is like one of the most American things you can do, to me. I think it's one of the coolest things you can do. And I really like the idea of making a found footage movie based around that. But it was stupid, you know, that he gets a haunted record and the record summons monsters on Halloween. It just, it was another 30-minute segment of people just running around screaming. There's so much screaming in this movie. I mean, really, it's tough because all the other VHS movies, they have like that one segment that's really boring, or that one where like there's a guy who falls in love with a robot or something. But at least it's not like 2 hours of just nonstop screaming. And that's what this one was. So even if you say this is like a fun movie, it's like, yeah, is it really fun when it's just like constant screaming for like 2 whole hours? I don't think so. I think it was very silly. It was very absurd, and it was just very, very weird. I think that the worst part is just the fact that each movie, the wraparound segment, continues to be bad. It continues to be uninteresting and, frankly, unnecessary. I think that you easily could have cut out the Spanish one, and then you could have cut out the wraparound, and then you could have just released the others as like short films, because like overall, like, I would not recommend VHS Halloween. Sorry. But still, like, I had some fun with some parts of it, but I really, really didn't like the dumb characters, dumb dialogue, and I just didn't like all the screaming. And usually I never complain about that type of thing, but I was really, really irritated. So that just shows how bad it really was. So overall, this is definitely not one of the best VHS movies, but it is fun, I guess. Like, I guess it's better than some of the other bad ones. But yeah, please like this video and comment. Don't you agree that they need to start taking the VHS movies seriously again? Wouldn't you like to see like some found footage movies where they actually took it seriously, instead of just making these South Park skits? And then please subscribe to our channel if you'd like to see more honest reviews, and head on over to our Patreon if you would like to see the full unedited reviews, because that is the only place that you'll be able to see those. This review is an exception because it really just was not worth it. Okay, and so goodbye everybody, see you soon.